Welcome to HECTV's live interactive program that's part of St. Louis.
The whole production is pulled together.
It's going to be a steel bridge.
The way the cockpit is designed.
The highest graded green building in the world.
Welcome to HECTV Live. Good morning and welcome to HECTV Live. Hi everybody, I'm Tim Gore, your host for the program, and I'm very happy to welcome you to the Black Box Theater at Crossroads College Preparatory School in St. Louis, Missouri for our program today, the DisAbility Project, Honoring Abilities of All. We're thrilled to be joined by members of the DisAbility Project troupe so that you can learn more about people with disabilities, understanding the issues that they face, and obviously how to be a better person for all people, not just yourself. They're going to be performing some live things today as well as some pre-taped things you're going to have a chance to see, and naturally we're going to be interested in your questions throughout the program. We're being joined by a great group of students here, and as always with HECTV Live, we're being joined by some schools interactively throughout the country, and of course you watching via television or the web. Don't forget you can email us questions to live@hectv.org. That's live@hectv.org. We want to begin by letting the DisAbility Project folks introduce themselves. So I'll move out of the way and let you guys go for it.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Good morning. Hi. Hi all over the country and hi here in St. Louis. I'm Joan Lipkin, and I'm the artistic director of the DisAbility Project, and I love my bird, and I'm very proud to say that I'm a breast cancer survivor. Anna?
Hi, I'm Anna Jennings. I'm married. I've been married for 16 years now. I live in Kirkwood, and I have a spinal cord injury.
My name is Justin Ivan Brown. I am an actor here in St. Louis, and I have a three-legged dog, hemophilia.
My name is Aria Sarah Locker, and I am the guest artist director of the DisAbility Project, and I'm a former Cirque du Soleil clown, and I also have disability.
My name is Lucy Grandal, and I've been a professional storyteller for 40 years. My disability is arthritis in my knees, exacerbated by my extreme fluffiness.
My name is Bobby Williams, and I'm new to the St. Louis area, hailing from California, and I am a new great grandmother.
Hi, I'm Margaret Jorgensen. I'm from St. Genevieve, Missouri, and like Bobby said, I'm a native Californian. I've been an editor, writer, and photographer for 20 years, and I have two forms of severe arthritis that limits my mobility.
Hi, I'm Brian Jones. I'm a community advocate for Paraquad, and my disability is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a genetic disorder of the connective tissues in my arms and legs. I can't support a weight over 30 pounds.
Thanks very much. Joan, shall we begin with your first performance, Some People See Me?
I think that would be great.
Wonderful.
Some people see me as dumb, but really, I just learn in different ways.
Some people see me as not being able to hold a job. Oh no! But really, I'm a reporter.
Some people don't see me, but really, I'm right here.
Some people see me as huge, but really, all this is nothing compared to my imagination.
See me as depressed, but really, I'm a clown.
Some people see me as out of breath, but really, that doesn't stop me from dancing.
Some people see me as confined, but really, I'm free. Woo! And some people see us as
Different.
but really, we are just like you. We
Are
Individuals.
We are
Individuals.
We
are
the DisAbility Project.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very, very much. Joan, join me up front. because I think we should begin with a little bit of information about the genesis of the project. So come right on over for me here, and give our audience some information about where did the idea for the Disability Project come from? How long have you guys been doing it?
Wow. Well, you know, I'm one of those people who, when I go places, I sort of notice not so much who's there, but who isn't there. And I noticed that when I would go out to theaters and different cultural events, that there really weren't a lot of people with disabilities, visible disabilities around. And so it seemed to me that that was a lack. And that if they weren't in the audience, they definitely weren't on the stage. That was, believe it or not, 14 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you have performed for thousands of people around the world.
We have performed for over 85,000 people have seen us in real time, and now with this wonderful television program, we're going to be reaching many, many more.
We're excited to be with you guys today. Thanks very much for the introduction. The first performance you're going to see is a pre-taped version of their DP rap. Those of you joining us interactively, you got those lyrics for the DP rap in advance of the program. If you want to pull them out so you can follow along with the lyrics, that's great. And I also want to tell our interactive schools to start thinking about the first questions you want to ask members of the troupe here, and also share with ideas you might have about, do you know people with disabilities? What's your response to the lyrics of the DP rap as you hear them? What questions might you have for Joan about the project, and for these folks here about living with their disability and performing, obviously. So let's go to that pre-tape of the DP rap, and then we'll welcome everybody's questions.
Sounds good.
One of the great things I love about live television is that it's live. And that gives me the opportunity off the top of my head to say, we've run into a slight technical error, which means those of you watching via video conference have not just seen the performance that the world on television has seen. But Joan, I think this might be a good opportunity for us to chat a little bit more and get these kids to start thinking about, as well as the kids on there, about folks that they've met, family members with disabilities, colleagues, friends with disabilities, etc. Questions and thoughts they have about that. Before we begin to have the kids ask questions or offer their ideas, if there's something you'd like to add right now about those kinds of things?
Sure. Now, are we?
Yeah, we're out to the world at this point.
We're out to the world. Hi, world. We haven't done this before. We're like, I guess we really are out to the world. Okay. There are several different kinds of disabilities. There is sensory, which has to do with the ability to see or perhaps to hear. There's mobility-related disability, which means whether you are able to ambulate without an assistance. And then there's what we call cognitive or mental disabilities, which has to do with the way we process information. And I think a lot of our studio audience and folks around the world may really be familiar with cognitive disabilities, because there are a lot of learning disabilities these days.
Well, what would be the prospects of just doing the DP rap live?
Oh my gosh.
Why not?
Would you like to see our rap live?
I say let's go for it.
I think we should.
All right, I'm out of here so you guys can do it. We'll go to DP rap live.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
Police services, you know who I am. And don't walk by like you won't understand. And don't assume what I'm capable of. We're all human beings, we all need love. When you stare or ignore, you restrain who I am. The talents I have, the future I plan. Our worlds may vary, but it's my reality. My identity is more than a disability.
Yeah. Round and round, the wheels keep on turning. With every sound, our hearts can keep learning. See the soul behind the difference. If you want to know the truth, release your resistance.
Now every little time you see someone new, they may be different, but they're people too. Celebrate life, think of what you might add. Just look at these folks and the lives that they've had. Jackie Joyner, Percy, and Albert Einstein, musician Ray Charles, who happened to be blind, Vincent Van Gogh, cartoonist Walt Disney, even Julius Caesar had a disability.
Go round and round with us. The wheels keep on turning. Good. With every sound, our hearts can keep learning. See the soul behind the difference. If you want to know the truth, release your resistance.
Mr. Stevie Wonder played the keys without a sight. Franklin Roosevelt wheeled around with all his might. Christopher Reeve, the spinal injury. Reeve, our future didn't give up easily. Professor Beethoven, he never know he wrote, but his melodies live on, and his melodies we go. Bruce Willis and Tom Cruise, and the talents as well.
Round and round, the wheels keep on turning. With every sound,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're starting to get email questions, so I want to ask those at live@hectv.org. That's live@hectv.org. And I want to get some reaction from you guys about what you just saw. So if somebody wants to volunteer some thoughts they had about the performance, pop right on over to that microphone. There's a kind young man being willing to step right up there. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see.
That's right.
What's your name, young man?
I'm Nick.
Hey, Nick. Welcome here. Well, what's your reaction to what you just saw and/or question that you might have?
That's amazing how you guys are just like comfortable, not caring what other people think about you.
How important, and don't feel bad if you don't have an answer right off the top of your head. How important do you think the message of that song is in terms of like being comfortable with who you are?
A big deal. Like, you have to, like, what they're doing here is amazing, and I just can't believe this. This is so cool.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. I'll let you sit down. Let's give Nick a big hand for what he just said. And don't forget, those of you joining us over the web and television, just email us your thoughts about this to live@hectv.org. Yes, what's your name, young lady?
I'm Ariel.
Hi, Ariel. What a beautiful name. What's your thoughts?
I was just wanted to ask, do you guys feel that people just see your disability and they don't look at your good qualities, like special talents or anything like that, you know?
Who would like to answer that question first? Who wants to run with that? I sent someone about ready to speak. Go for the gusto. Remind everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm Margaret Jorgensen again from St. Genevieve, Missouri. Yeah, some people do look at the wheelchair, and especially with people like me who are looking for a job or looking to do other things with their lives. But I have a wonderful boss that looked beyond the wheelchair and saw a creative writer and photographer. So to answer your question, yes, there are people who only look at the wheelchair and say, oh, the poor baby's in a wheelchair. But thank goodness there's other people who see beyond that.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks very much for your question, Ariel.
I actually have a comment.
You go right ahead.
Which is, I want to ask you all to think about this, and also our friends out there all over the world. Do we feel that we're really seen in a deep way, or do you think that people read the surface for all of us? Really? Rather, you know, whether we are visibly disabled or not, are we actually really seen? And I think maybe we're really not.
Oh, yes, because I have a feeling that lots of people just notice the fact that there's a shining light coming off the top of my head.
Is that what that was?
Is that what that was? Yes, that's right. It's not my aura. It's actually, no. Your name, young man, is?
I almost felt like it was really, to use that word again, amazing that all of you kind of just came here and you're live and, you know, 100 people are watching this and that you're brave enough to go out there. I mean, I could never do that. I could never do that, but you guys are going out there and singing and performing and everything. Man, that's really cool.
Thanks so much for sharing. That's absolutely great. Thank you for sharing that way. Now, one of the email questions we had was, so what was the genesis for the DP rap? Did you guys create it from a theatrical perspective? Was it a group collaboration? Did one person write it? How did the DP rap get created?
Well, you know, like everything we do, sometimes it comes out of a group conversation, but we are all about responding. We're theater artists, and we're all about responding to whatever the genres are of our time. And is rap not where it's at, guys? Yeah, right? So how can we perform and not do a rap? So we put a rap together, and we've been refining it, and the message sort of goes out to everybody about all kinds of bigotry, which is if you want to know the truth, meaning you want to know the truth about anything, release your resistance. Meaning release your preconceptions and take the time to see who people are.
And you mentioned a variety of important people that some of us may be familiar with.
Yeah.
In that DP rap. Would you like to highlight a couple of those folks for us? And,
yeah.
Anybody want to speak to that?
Yeah.
You want to offer some of that?
Sure.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, Jackie Joyner Kersey, a native St. Louisan, asthma, Albert Einstein, musician Ray Charles, who happened to be blind, Vincent van Gogh, cartoonist Walt Disney. I can go on and on.
and what do you think?
They had dyslexia.
And what do you think their example tells people? Why is it important that we recognize those folks for not just the contributions they made to society, but also for the trueness of who they were?
Well, it says that you can be a leader in the society. You can go forward despite any kind of limitations. So,
and I think, yeah, I think something that's really interesting about Jackie Joyner Kersey, who of course is from this area, is that she has asthma, and she's an Olympic athlete.
she's a runner.
She's a runner, so think about that. And Ludwig van Beethoven, he wrote some of his greatest music after he went deaf, because he was hearing the music in his head. So I think that we're really sort of more kept back by our own limitations and, of course, by people's perceptions of what our limitations are. And that's what we're doing here today, is to try and sort of expand people's perceptions.
Thank you very much, Joe. We're going to now let you guys see a pre-tape performance of Divas on Wheels, which, by the way, I think is a fabulous name. Who wants to give us a little bit of intro to what Divas on Wheels is all about? Who's a diva that would like to share that with me? Hi, diva. Come up and join me. I'm a big believer in divas of either gender. Yes.
Divas on Wheels is about acquired disabilities and being born with disability, and how even in subcultures, there are arguments between both sides of the story. I think, well, after watching the piece, it'll explain a little more about it. But it's a good message that all disabilities are around, and you need to work together as a team versus against each other. And that goes for any minority, any group, and globally. So
cool. Let's run it then. Divas on Wheels.
Hi, I'm Tony, and I've always been disabled because I was born with my disability.
Hi, I'm Alex. I have an acquired disability. I wasn't born with my disability. I became disabled.
You're not really disabled then.
What?
You just acquired your disability. It doesn't count.
I'm just as disabled as you are.
Are not.
I am too. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's even harder for me, because I used to be a regular guy. I've had to adjust to being disabled.
I've had it harder because I've had to put up with being special my whole life.
This is stupid.
You just say that because you know I'm right.
I'm just as disabled as you are.
Are not.
Are two.
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 Tony, stop fighting. You are both disabled, and you will both receive the same isolation and second-class treatment from society, regardless of the nature of your disabilities. And, as a bonus, you're more than likely to live below the poverty line.
Yeah! Whoa! Hey, wait.
That stinks.
Yeah.
Get her! We're here.
We're disabled.
And
we matter.
Our thanks to the Central Reform Congregation, which was the location where we actually were able to tape that in advance. I want to give them a shout out as well. The message there is really, really interesting when you're thinking in terms of like, and I love the little line that you have about, oh, don't worry about it. You're all equally like, you're all equally thank you for saying that. Naturally, I didn't want to necessarily use that phrasing myself, but yeah, that we're all equally going to be the victim of prejudice or bias or that kind of thing. And Joan, is that the important thing that you want to get out there, as opposed to, you know, the issue of like one disability being, I hate to use this phrase, better than another?
Right. Well, you know, it happens with a lot of minority groups that deal with oppression issues, is that they begin to have sort of infighting within their own community. And so in the disability community, which actually is quite large, there are an estimated 55 million people with disabilities in the United States alone. And that a lot of times people who come to it at a different point in their life, perhaps through illness or maybe through an accident, have a different experience than somebody who's been dealing with it from birth. And so that's what congenital means. Congenital means that you were born with it, and acquired means that something that happens later. But you'll notice it's kind of funny. We make fun of ourselves because the hallmark of our work is we really try to have a good time. We think that humor is a way in to really difficult issues.
We're about to see a live performance of what's called Hello, which I personally really, really like a lot as a message. Do you want the audience to know anything about this in advance, or do you want them to experience it and then get their reaction to it?
Boy, that's a tough one. I think that we should let the audience see it for themselves.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask the audience out there to be thinking about, what do you think this piece is about? As you watch it, what do you think the different issues are, right? And how is the experience for the child different than it is for the parent, right? But I think we have a question.
Yes, I wanted to go to those two ladies. Come right on up. Go for it.
Which type of disability is most common, like the mental, the physical, the sensory?
Joan, do you have any statistical information, like are there more people with like mental or physical disabilities, or is there any kind of just, numbers-wise? That's what she was asking.
That is really a very good question, and the statistics are difficult to gather for many, many reasons. Sometimes because people feel discriminated against, they won't necessarily be forthcoming in terms of what the nature of their disability is. I can give you some statistics. I can tell you that according to the 2000 census, in Missouri, over 17% of the population has some form of disability. I can tell you that according to the United Nations, there are an estimated 650 million people. Can you say that? Can you say 650 million? That's a lot of people with disabilities. And we're finding more and more learning disabilities. Is that your experience also in school? Have you noticed that? Yeah.
Thanks very much for your question.
Thanks
I'll
for your
remind
question.
everybody who's joining us interactively to please keep your microphones muted, wherever that errant sound may be coming from. I'm not sure, but that would be an important thing. Come on up to the microphone, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, how can we prevent the exclusion of disabled people?
Oh, now that is an extremely large and important question.
That is such a great question. Can we just applaud for that question? Right on.
And actually, I'm glad you guys are standing in line for future questions, but I'm going to go to the performance of Hello first, because I'm interested in not us responding to that first. I'm interested in your responses first.
Right.
And I'm interested in our audience at home giving us responses via live. So while this performance is happening, I'm going to go to email it live@hectv.org and see what responses we get. And then let's hear what you ask that question again so the world can be thinking about it.
What can we do to help the exclusion of disabled people?
Keep that thought in mind as we watch this performance from Hello, and then we're going to go to your questions as well, folks. So thanks for being there. Joan, I'll get out of your way.
All right.
Welcome to Brain and Boo's beauty shop. What can I do for you?
Oh, I just like to get trim, please.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the store.
Look, Mommy, that lady has wheels. How did she get here? Did she drive like in a car?
I'm so sorry. You're embarrassing me. It's really not. This is my, she's misbehaving. No. Shh. We have talked. Aria. We have talked about people like this. Now we leave them alone, okay? We do not bother them or call attention to them. I want you to sit here quietly like a good little girl while Mommy gets her nails. Oh, Aria. Oh, come on, sweetie. I'll get you ice cream.
Maggie Moose?
Okay, if that's what you want.
With sprinkles and gummy bears.
Okay, but you have to sit here quietly and not bother
The nice lady on wheels.
The lady on wheels. Oh, gosh. Okay, now I want you to sit here and remember what we practice at home. Zip is the lip. Very good.
I love you, Mommy.
Oh, sweetheart. Mwah. Mommy loves you too. Remember, don't bother the
Lady on wheels.
Why did I have kids? Sometimes I just don't know. I think I have to get an express manicure. All right. What do you think? Pink or red? Pink? Pink? Okay. Pink. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be one of those days. Okay. Oh, did you hurt yourself? Oh. Well, maybe we should just skip the ice cream.
No, I'm fine.
Nice recovery. All right, maybe the third time is a charm. Okay. See, my cuticles are really not, not so good here.
You look great. I'll be right back.
Thanks. La la la. But Mom, no, Mommy. But we were. I just wanted. But she's nice.
What did
But we just.
I
just wanted to say something.
What did you want to say?
I
just asked you to do one thing, Arya. Just one thing.
But I just wanted to
so
say
important
something.
that you had to disrespect your mother and make a scene in front of all these people. What?
I just wanted to say hello. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. That's our piece. Fun playing with you.
Thank you all very much. Now that piece I think gives us quite a bit to think about. And so I'm really interested in your reactions to what you noticed there. What assumptions were being made by Mom? What assumptions were not necessarily being made by the daughter? What the possibilities were that existed between the daughter and the woman in the wheelchair because that assumption was not made, and what possibilities were eliminated because Mom had made certain assumptions. And think about the kinds of assumptions we make in our daily lives, not just in terms of, you know, this individual in a wheelchair, but perhaps about any number of situations with people we interact with, whether they be different than us in terms of ability level or hair color or lack of hair or skin color or ethnicity or religious or whatever the case may be. All sorts of assumptions are made, and how does that affect our ability to really get to know them and have a moment of communication with them? So I want your reactions to that, and we want to go back to the question we had before about how do we want to deal with those issues. So do you have anything you want to offer about what you just saw before we continue then to everybody else?
I liked how the little girl, she liked playing with the wheelchair, and then the woman didn't really care. She was just kind of playing with her.
And do you think, I mean, don't feel the need to necessarily speak from your own perspective, but I'll put you on the spot. Do you think people kind of have an assumption about folks in wheelchairs that they're expecting, that they want some sort of barrier, that they don't like the idea that I would reach over and touch the chair? I mean, do you think most people think that way, that that's what they're going to assume?
I think they probably would assume that, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
That's cool. Let's go to the next young man in line. Go right ahead, sir.
This kind of reminded me of my family, because I have my sister, and she likes to play around, and she likes to look at random people. And she usually finds people who have disabilities, and we usually hang around with my aunt sometimes, and my aunt kind of doesn't really like that, but I usually just let Fiona do it when I'm there. And my sister and I both have disabilities, and I'm proud of it. There's nothing wrong with me.
Very cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, sir?
Hi. I was wondering if joining the Disability Project boosted your self-esteem.
Oh, interesting question. You're sitting right here. I'll pick on you.
Well, yes, I would have to say that it really has given me a lot of confidence to speak in public and to speak to a large group of people. So, yes, definitely, it has increased my my hamminess.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, ma'am. Come right on up.
Hi. I was just wondering, have you ever been told that you are not able to do something because of your disability, and how did you fight against it?
Oh, very cool. Who might want to offer a thought in that regard? Oh, I'm going to come right on over, and I'm going to get to pick on you for that. Remind the audience about your name.
I'm Brian Jones.
And Brian, could you remind them your disability?
I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a genetic disorder of the connective tissues in my arms and legs.
And based on the question, have you ever experienced what the young lady's asking about?
Well, not really. Sometimes it's hard for me to get a job because I have trouble lifting things, lifting heavy things.
Okay. Anybody else want to offer? Aria?
I have dyslexia, and when I was first learning to read, it took me a really long time. And I had a school teacher that told my parents that I should be held back. And I was horrified and scared, and they didn't know. I didn't learn till about 15 years after that I actually had dyslexia. But it was really, really scary for me. I thought I was going to get held back in school, and I didn't understand what was going on. And it wasn't until years later that I actually understood, and I went to college, and I was very successful in school. So luckily my parents really fought for me to stay in, and I did okay.
Good. Thanks so much. Thanks for the question. And yes, sir.
I was just wondering, do you think people know enough about people with disabilities, and if they don't, do you think why they make the assumptions that people want to be separated?
What do you think? What do you think? Bobby, come right on up, Bobby, so we can get you into the light. Come into the light. Come into the light. I promise not to do a poltergeist moment on you. Go right ahead.
Yes, my name is Bobby, and that is a great question because people do assume a lot of things. And would you state that again, please, young man?
Do you think people don't know enough about disabilities, and that's why they make
Absolutely.
them?
Education is imperative, and that is what the Disability Project is all about. Educating the world and youth and elderly, as myself, into the understanding that we are just like you.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for that great question.
You know what it's like if you were to go to school on the first day or go to a new school? How many of you have transferred to a new school? Yeah. Now some of you came over with friends, right? But some of you came over and you didn't know anybody. What is it like to go into a new school or maybe go to a new after-school activity and nobody says hello to you? Yeah. How does that feel? We can all say together, 1, 2, 3, lousy. 1, 2, 3, lousy. Okay, so, one of the things that we like to say here in the Disability Project is we think that there are 3 of the most important words in the English language. The first one, from what you just saw in this scene, what might that be? I can't hear you.
Louder. Hello.
Hello. Okay, right. Hello. That's right. And what do you think may be the second? It's a little bit of a trick because there's 2 words that are right next to each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Joe.
No, thank you.
We'll stop there. And the third.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, meaning because
You're doing a trick question, aren't you?
I am.
Aren't
I'm
you, Joe?
playing. Because hello opens the door. Hello means that we can begin to have a relationship. If you don't acknowledge somebody and you don't talk to them, you can't have a relationship. And we think that thank you is important. Thank you, guys. Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. We say thank you a lot because we feel that it's important to express appreciation. And then if we feel appreciated, we're more likely to do what? Say hello. help each other, be more inclusive, right?
Good ideas, very good message. You're going to learn something else now, as you guys have the opportunity to use the pieces of paper and writing utensils you've got in front of you. And our interactive groups are able to use their pieces of paper. And I'm going to invite everybody who's watching us on television or the web, if you don't have a piece of paper in front of you, then grab one. If you don't have a pen or pencil in front of you, then grab one. Because Aria here is going to take you through an exercise where you're going to have the chance to experience a little bit for yourselves about what it might be like to be less abled than you think you are. Aria?
Thank you.
You're going to do it
I do want to say one quick note before we begin this exercise, because I feel like we left that question hanging about what can you do to include people who are living with disabilities. And I think the message is in this sketch that we just saw with hello. It's just, it starts with you. You all have the power to walk up to somebody and say hello and be friendly and break down those barriers. It starts with you today going out into the world. Just don't be afraid to say hello to somebody. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We love questions about our disabilities, and just you model the behavior and you can change and influence everybody around you, your parents, your teachers, your peers, everyone. So thank you for that question, and go out into the world and just be friendly, start asking questions, and that's the best thing that you can do. That being said, we're going to move on to an activity. So you all have a piece of paper in front of you, and all of us joining in the schools should have a piece of paper and a pencil. And the very first thing I want you to do with this piece of paper is I would like you to write your first and last name somewhere on the top of the paper. Brian's providing background music for us. Doon, 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 doon. Excellent. Okay, so do most of you have your first and last name on the paper? Excellent. Now I would like for you to draw a smiley face about the size of a quarter, the quarter coin. Doon, 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 doon. Excellent. So most of you should have your first and last name and a smiley face on the piece of paper. Now what I would like for you to do is switch hands and use your other hand and write your first and last name on the piece of paper below the first one. How are we doing? Takes a little longer, right? Oh, more music.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
All right. So try to finish up on your first and last name with the other hand. And then when you finish that, please draw another smiley face about the size of a quarter with that other hand. How are we doing? All right, so Tim did this exercise as well, and he's going to share his results with us.
Yes, I thought it wouldn't be fair to ask you guys to share your results or interactive schools to share their results if I didn't attempt to share my results as well. So I attempted to do a little bit of cursive as well as print. So I guess we'll go for a close-up here on camera 3 or whatever, 2, whatever the case may be. And we're going to notice as we get closer, I'll let you guys see that the top, of course, is my right hand. Now, you got to realize that to a large extent, I'm not necessarily very artistic to begin with. And, oh, we're going to up here? Great. Excellent. They're going, but you'll notice that underneath my happy smiling face, which looks very nice up on top, if I do say so myself, you can feel free to agree with me. Yes. Excellent answer. Excellent answer. I've then attempted to do the infamous left-hand cursive moment. I've attempted to do the left-hand cursive moment, the infamous left-hand print moment, and the left-hand smiley face moment, who has a tendency to have somewhat larger eyes for some bizarre reason when you look at him. One of the things I noticed immediately, Aria, wasn't just the difficulty of the action of doing it. I noticed just the difficulty of holding the pencil. that it was just weird for me to hold a pencil this way. It's like so natural to do things in certain ways. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about in terms of like, so much of what we do in our life is just so natural to us. Whether it's me just walking down the street, whether it's me getting on my bicycle to take a bike ride or whatever the case may be, whether it's me just talking off the top of my head, like I'm talking off the top of my head now. But putting that pencil in my other hand reminded me that that's not necessarily the same for everybody all the time, that we all experience things where we're not as comfortable or it's just not as natural for us to do something about it. And I liked that physicality of it as well as seeing what the results were going to be. Shall we have our students share a little bit of what they did as well? Who wants to come up to the microphone and share? Come right on over. Just pop yourselves right over there. Just hold it in front of you, but not necessarily your face. Oh, you're doing a fine job. What did you notice as you engaged in the activity?
Well, that it was hard to do it with my left hand, and it was even harder considering my writing is horrible.
Okay.
For both hands.
Not that your teachers would have ever noticed that, right? Very good. Thank you, sir. Come right on over, young lady.
Can you capture some adjectives to describe what we might say about the second set if we didn't know anything about the person?
Well, sure. That's a great idea.
Well, I have pretty good handwriting, but my left-handed was just terrible. Like,
Okay. So like if you were going to compare your bottom drawing and your bottom writing to your upper writing, what adjective would you use to describe the bottom one as opposed to the top one?
well, this is a little neater, but it was kind of hard because I was writing on my leg.
Uh-huh,
kind of.
uh-huh.
But this one is just really messy.
Messy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Messy. Very good. Thank you very much. Let's come right on over and see what.
Why don't we get a group shot?
What-
Like the Supremes
Well,
or
certainly. That'll be fine and dandy. We'll get all through. Come on in, guys.
Supremes, they can,
Just slide right on over to the left.
show us all their stuff
And,
together.
and we'll start with you. Hold them up loud and proud, as it were. And so what did you notice, and how would you describe your second as opposed to your first?
The first is like neater than the second one.
Uh-huh.
And the bottom one is just messy.
Messy, okay. Messy is an adjective we've heard again. How about you, sir?
Well, I'm not super good at handwriting, so my top one's somewhat messy, but the bottom one's even messier than usual.
And if you were, I'm going to just, don't worry, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you were to look at that piece of paper, and you were to meet somebody for the first time, and they showed that to you and said, hi, here's my name on this piece of paper, what might be your honest reaction to that moment in time?
Ew.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Turn that back to the camera so the world can see it again. What was your thinking, and what would you say to that same question I just asked him?
The top one was neater than the bottom one, and if I saw this and I didn't know who wrote it, I would think they were like 6.
Okay. So you'd make some sort of assumptions about their age as well as their physical ability.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's interesting. Thank you three very, very much. I want to go to Barry. Let's give them all a big, big hand. Ari, I'm going to invite you to come over as well. I'm going to try to go back to Colfax and see if they can share us. Colfax, if you're there and you've got a student or student who wishes to share your drawings, unmute your microphone, come in and say hello and let us know.
Just hold it right there and I'll zoom in. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not.
Yeah, we can see that exceptionally well, actually. It looks to me like your name is Brianna. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Now, Brianna, let's go back to the question that Ari asked the other folks. What adjective would you use to describe your bottom one as opposed to your top signature? And what might you think about a person who wrote like that as opposed to the top one?
I think you got to talk a little louder. It was messier and harder.
Okay, messier indeed.
It was
Very
messier
good.
and harder.
Aria, anything else you'd like to share with the students or talk a little bit about this activity?
Yeah, just to think about whenever we're dealing and navigating around, with a disability, it's very much a constant process of trying to learn to do something in a way that is maybe a little different from the standard. And just to capture some of your thoughts, what is it like to do something that you do every day and sort of take for granted and it is really easy, but to have to do it in a totally different way? And also to think about, how is that second signature and drawing, is that a good reflection of your capabilities? Or does it seem somehow unfair to be judged by that second signature? If we put that forward and said, that's your work and that drawing is your work, do you feel like that would be a fair reflection of your capabilities? Or what feelings would come up for you for that?
Those are great questions, and think about that. And there's all sorts of variations on a theme that we can do. This was a nice, easy activity for us to do here in terms of your hand, but you could also think in terms of it with other limited physical movement. You could think of it in terms of obviously with less the inability to see or hear. All sorts of ways for you to think about what it would be like to experience life in a slightly different way. We've just got about 3.5 minutes left, and we want to make sure everybody gets to see Getting Jiggy with It.
All right.
And then hopefully go to some final questions. So be thinking about what Aria just said and the ideas that we've talked about in this program as we get jiggy with it.
Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, center, left, center, down, center, up, center, left, center, right, center, up, center, down, center, shoulders, 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 shoulders. Do your thing, do your thing, do your thing, do your thing. Diane, do your thing. Justin, do your thing. Tom, do your thing. Eli, do your thing. Anna, do your thing. Ryan, do your thing. David, do your thing. Joe, do your thing. Do your thing. Send it back. Up, down, 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 up, down. We're getting jiggy. 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, center, left, center, down, center, up, center, left, center, right, center, up, center, down, center, shoulders, 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 shoulders. Do your thing, 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 do your thing. We got jiggy!
And there's a message in that too.
Yes, as we celebrate doing your thing, in the minute and a half we have left, let's give some context to everything we've been talking about, because we're talking about a civil rights issue.
Yes.
And this is this year is the anniversary of a rather important piece of legislation that was passed.
That's
as well.
right. The 20th anniversary, actually last year was the 20th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which means that we have to legislate how we treat people with disabilities. So social change, Tim, happens two ways. It happens with our own behavior, our attitudes. If we say hello, if we understand that somebody is more than the physical casing that they come in, and also if the law protects us.
Very good, very good. I want to thank everybody from the Disability Project for being here today.
Thank you.
I want to thank the excellent audience right here from Crossroads. Thank you very much for your questions.
I have an idea.
We'll get to your questions after we go off the air live, so you guys will be able to ask them. We'll be back at 1 o'clock, obviously, for our second program this afternoon with the Disability Project. To those of you who are joining us via interactive video conference, we'll be sending you a DVD of the program, so you'll be sure to get everything in its entirety. And don't forget, if you've watched us on TV or the web and you still have email questions you want to send to live@hectv.org, we'll welcome them, because I can always ask them during our 1 o'clock program.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So thank you all very, very much again. We look forward to seeing you again next week at Craft Alliance for our programs Inside the Artist Studio, where we work with metals artists and woodworking artists as they create pieces of art. As always, it's a great pleasure to be with you on HEC TV Live. Bye, everybody.